Good afternoon and welcome to our Talk Sports program, our weekend program, Saturday Sports Special to be exact, where we discuss with the movers and shakers of sports, the sportsmen, sportswomen, sports administrators, just about everyone involved in sports. Well, on this weekend's program, as indicated, we have with us our special guest, newly appointed ambassador for Diaspora Affairs, Ambassador Terry Forrester. And as usual, my co-host, based in Toronto, Rudian Sylvan will join us as per usual, right? So as we get into the discussion, Ambassador Terry Forrester will be discussing with us a number of things. Basically, let's look at it. Incorporating the diaspora in sports, in the sports sector specifically, can have a positive impact on Grenada's sporting development and recognition on the global stage. The diaspora often includes individuals with diverse experiences and expertise in various sports disciplines who may be willing, at least, to contribute, as we say, their skills, their knowledge and resources to support the growth of sports in Grenada. And this can include initiatives such as the mentorship programs. We can have talent scouting in whether it's football, athletics, basketball, training exchanges, as we have seen in other areas, and collaborations with diaspora-based sports organizations. So it is important for us to have our newly appointed ambassador, Terry Forrester, to hear from him. What are the plans by government to ensure that the diaspora has a seat on the table? And let's say, good afternoon to Ambassador Terry Forrester. Ambassador, good afternoon to you and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for your very kind and warm welcome, Michael. It's a pleasure to be on your program today, and special afternoon to your co-host. And indeed, a special good afternoon to all your listeners and viewers, all the Grenadians in the diaspora, no matter where you are. I bid you well and I wish you well. Thank you very much for having me on your program today.
Okay. And as indicated, Ambassador Forrester, and I mean, you're thrown into the fire with the oil, everything, so that you have to start, the ball rolling, and there isn't any vacation, as we'll say there. From day one, I believe, you have been on the go. Let's hear from you. What's the task at hand? And starting actually from when you were appointed, when you received your instrument of appointment, what have you been doing thus far?
Okay, well, first and foremost, the vision of this new administration is very simple. And where it concerns the diaspora, it's a matter of recognizing that Grenadians are Grenadians no matter where they live, be it in Grenada, the diaspora, any
Ambassador Forrester, before we go, just let me get a little more headroom from you so we can see your face, right? Yes,
right.
Let's
so
go now. Yes, we go.
Great, and I need a little bit more volume from you. Anyhow, so that is in essence the policy position of the government of Grenada, re-engaging the diaspora, ensuring that the mass wealth of knowledge, skills, talent, financial strengths, etc., are being harnessed. And there is an entity out there by the name of GDAP that has already started work in that respect, led by Abiola Telesford and Shonda Kador. They are basically collecting data on professionals in the medical field, but of course in other fields, so that we can have strong database. And the idea is embracing and engaging the diaspora as never before, because we believe that the diaspora represents an engine of growth for Grenada, not just financially, but an engine of growth in professionalism, in just about every aspect of development in Grenada, be it in the health sector, education, agriculture, tourism, you name it. We are of the firm opinion that the diaspora can make a significant contribution. Just take, for example, our CBI program in Grenada, which is the Citizenship by Investment. that was promoted years ago. We have to now recognize that there are folks out in the diaspora who are not looking for a CBI opportunity, because the CBI opportunity are for non-Grenadians. We are saying to the Grenadians out there to identify with investment opportunities in Grenada, identify with investing in projects in Grenada, approved projects that is, and even if there aren't any approved government projects, you can come up with projects that you would like to undertake and to involve other Grenadians in the diaspora and elsewhere. For too long, we have given credence to the fact that investment opportunities must be for other persons, some foreigner coming in from somewhere. Not that we are opposed to it, but we want to encourage Grenadians out in the diaspora who have resources. They have resources and they can make a meaningful contribution in Grenada by investing in several areas that have great opportunity of returns. So if it is not being done by Grenadian investors out there, the government is willing to look at financially researched projects that can really create a good return on investment. Take, for example, in the agriculture sector, if we are to consider establishing a cassava factory where we can engage all of our farmers and individuals throughout Grenada to produce cassava for this factory, there are a ton load of secondary products that can be derived just from this one agricultural item, cassava, which is extremely healthy. You can get baby products out of it. You can get all host of products out of it. In Nigeria, there's one company there making noodles and lots of other products and exporting. So we need to identify the things that are going to be meaningful and sustainable to Grenada, and encourage the diaspora, Grenadians out there, to invest in such like projects, or come up with your own projects and involve others. For too long, we have given too much credibility to the fact that other persons, who are non-Grenadians, by the way, have the skill, have the talent, have the financial wherewithal and ability to do large projects. That is not true. And therefore, we want to challenge Grenadians at this time to get more involved. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development, led by the Honorable Joseph Andel and his team, are prepared now in this new dispensation to create the synergies, to create the opportunities, to create the abilities that we have better engagement with our brothers and sisters out in the diaspora. We have to create that embracing opportunity as never before. And food security is one of the main items of importance. When you look at world news today, if one isn't worried about where the future is, then we all need to. And food security ought to be on the front burner for all of us, not just in Grenada, in the Caribbean. In the recent CARICOM 50th anniversary celebrations in Trinidad, the new chairman of CARICOM made it very clear that the region needs to step up its ability to be self-sufficient in food for the people of the Caribbean. And although that has been echoed for many years, but it is now coming home to roost, that if we don't get onto that bandwagon now and correct it down the road, we could have problems who know when. But so these are just some of the initiatives that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is engaged in, and I'm pleased to be part of the ministry at this time and to thank the Honorable Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and his cabinet for having the confidence and trust in engaging me and providing me with this platform to engage with Grenadians out in the diaspora. And the diaspora is not just New York. The diaspora is all over the world. In Trinidad alone, we have thousands of Grenadians just next door in Trinidad. I don't think they have been engaged in any meaningful way over the years. We have to fix the issue of airlift, the issue of transportation in the region. It is just too costly to move. So there are just so many issues, that we need to deal with. But it's your interview, so let me give you your opportunity to ask your questions.
Won't you agree, Ambassador Forrester, from someone who has been on the outside of the diplomatic sphere, that and may have heard from Grenadians in the diaspora, and as you say, not just New York, whether it's Toronto, London, the Caribbean, that it has been a frustrating period for just Grenadians themselves to be involved in the process of national development?
Yes, indeed. And it has been extremely frustrating. Just simply trying to invest your money in Grenada, that is challenging. Setting up a bank account is extremely challenging as compared to doing the same thing in the United States or Canada. You can probably set up a bank account in a matter of a day or two. In Grenada, it takes you a much longer time, simply because our banking system locally, not just in Grenada, in the region, are subjected to so many rules and regulations established by the Financial Action Task Force and other governmental agencies outside of our region, that if they don't follow through on the requirements, they can lose certain banking regulations, certain banking collaborations, etc. So we are always placed under stress and pressure as small island states, simply because it is said, do as I say and not as I do. So it gives us, therefore, this impetus as Caribbean people, and our Caribbean leaders have recognized this for a very long time, that we need to step up our games. We need to be more self-sufficient in just about a number of areas where we have capacity so to build. So, but coming back to your point, the mere fact of our returning Grenadians still having challenges. Now, these are some of the things that we need to promote out there, and we would want to encourage media practitioners like yourself to promote the benefits that the Ministry of Finance offers to returning Grenadians, duty-free concessions on their household items and vehicles, etc. But you must be returning to Grenada, and evidence must be shown of this. So there are other issues with respect to problems that our returnees face, dealing with immigration, and sometimes dealing with financial issues, dealing with just relationship issues. But we are promoting the fact and the notion that we are all Grenadians, no matter where we live. And we must come to the point where we can have an international diaspora day, where we can celebrate the fact that we are Grenadians but living outside. And we must have the same in Grenada for diaspora folks returning. Thank God the notion of what was many years ago termed as JCBs, which is derogatory in itself. I am happy that that term is kind of has died away, because these are Grenadians returning home. And when they return home, they represent dollars and cents in the economy, no matter what they do. But just the presence alone back here represents dollars and cents. They have to buy food, they have to pay for transportation, they got to stay somewhere, etc., etc. So we are extremely grateful for the contributions of the diaspora, and the opportunity is now as to how best we can engage the diaspora so that we can all benefit out of it. Grenada can benefit, and the folks in the diaspora can benefit from the policies and programs of the government.
It's interesting you said that, because I know of a vendor, for example, a market vendor, who once said that that she don't get into this JCB thing, because she knows that when folks come to Grenada, and they visit sometimes 3-4 times a year for some of them, and she knows that that's guaranteed sales she will have, because they will call her before and say, hey, I'm coming, so have this ready for me, and she will have those things, the baskets and all these things ready. And you're talking about 3-4 times a year, and that's
absolutely
a
absolutely so indeed. And on that point, there are Grenadians who are engaged in the importation of fresh fruit and vegetables and fish, etc., importing that into the United States. And there are challenges there, because there's limited airlift availability for them to carry on their trade. So this is an area that has to be looked into. As a matter of fact, I've already engaged JetBlue, and they have indicated, well, so sorry, but the equipment that we are using, we are generally tight, even with baggage. And the idea is, if we can engage the other islands where, for example, JetBlue operate, and insist upon a wider aircraft, because we have cargo that we need to export to New York and elsewhere. You see, it is in life is what you negotiate. It's not what's given to you, it's what you negotiate. So governments in the region have to become much more proactive and demanding, to some extent, on the partnerships that they enter into, because all of these carriers, they have to obtain licenses, etc. We have to start and get accustomed to negotiating and trying to get what is best for us and our people.
Yeah, Rudian, I know you have some things to ask, but it's also important, Ambassador Forrester, to understand that when the officials, and you mentioned that to an extent, that the diaspora organizations themselves need to be speaking with one voice to an extent, so that when there's an opportunity to sit at the table, that there could be one voice speaking on behalf of the diaspora, in terms of what it is they need, expressing their concerns, all these sort of things. Rudian?
Yes, Michael. Mike, just before, let me just mention that you talk about this opportunity for the diaspora, and there must be a very clear opportunity for the diaspora to know where they can go to, who they can contact, be it by telephone or email. So in other words, there must not be any wondering and thinking about, well, who do I go to if I have this problem? Which office will handle it? What's the telephone contact? What's the email address? All these things should be very much on the forefront of the lips of Grenadians in the diaspora. And this is all part of providing the services that are necessary to professionally engaging the diaspora, making it easy for them to communicate and collaborate with homeland Grenada.
Mr. Ambassador, over the past few years, Grenadians in the diaspora always have challenges with a lot of the issues that you speak about, that you are forefront on. What is the reassurance that it's a difference now compared to the past few years? Many Grenadians are still skeptical of the investment. They still have challenges with banks, getting a bank account, and going through that process. Who is Grenadian? Who actually holds Grenadian ID? Even a Grenadian passport still have those challenges. What reassurance moving forward? And then, like I said, I know you're just getting into the position. There's a lot that you have to do, but what reassurance you have for them, stating that there is change coming? This is the movement is happening. I know we are speaking it, and I've seen with this administration, change is coming, and I've definitely seen it. And I can see the movement of what's been happening. I think Grenada on a whole is in a right pathway, but they are still skeptical of Grenadians and the diaspora in terms of with the investments. So how can you and the administration can change the mindset of the people?
Well, I think it is important for Grenadians in the diaspora to understand that the Deacon Mitchell administration campaigned on the basis of change. Change is coming, change is on its way. And I believe, honestly, that the change has started. It's going to take time in order to get all the various aspects of change implemented. But once there is goodwill, once there is an opportunity to show to the Grenadian public, locally and in the diaspora, that these are the programs that the government is pursuing in order to provide an easier opportunity for you to invest, for you to return home. These are the things that we have to show in a real, tangible way. And I think the process has started because by the mere fact that the government has decided to elevate this position from just being a diaspora desk and to appointing an ambassador with responsibility for the diaspora, it shows the importance that the government of Grenada places on that particular matter, because it means having to interact with all of our embassies from Trinidad in the south to Beijing in China, because we have Grenadians all over. And the idea is to create a department that can rise to the occasion of providing information, providing data in a timely manner to our Grenadian folks. They ought to be able to go on to a diaspora website and access just about any governmental information that they so require. While some of this exists, but we would want to make it much easier, comfortable for our Grenadians out there to get information, and rather having to call a family member and ask them to go in town to the Ministry of Finance, find out about this for them, or calling up somebody. Information should be just a matter of a click away. And as technology advances, we have to step up and embrace technology and embrace whatever opportunities exist in the transformation of technology worldwide, and keep our people up to breast and encourage them to keep up to breast with what is happening, so that they can take advantage of opportunities locally. And I'm saying this in the context that there are lots of, for example, concessions that are offered to investors. And somehow in the back of our minds, we believe as a people, locally and in the diaspora, that investors supposed to be white folks. I have nothing against white folks. Let's get it very clear. But we have to remove this mindset from our brain to think that other folks can do it, and we somehow have to continue working for a salary wherever we are. We must get this mindset change within our diaspora and locally, that we are also investors, and the government needs to and is looking at setting policies and programs in place to meet those demands and those needs, because we need to encourage our own local investors, Grenadian investors. There are lots of Grenadians out there with a lot of money investing in other economies. We are saying, come back home, find your niche. You will be provided with all the assistance that you require, the concessions that are necessary for your business to flourish. Because we know once a Grenadian invests, that investment is almost permanent. We can't say the same for others.
And just before you go, Michael, most definitely, you couldn't say that much better. Because I think that's one of the challenges that we have as Canadians. We believe we cannot invest. It has to be somebody of a different color or of a different race. But Grenadians can do the same thing. But that have to be also be a campaign,
Mhm.
educating the people. Education doesn't mean going to school. It's just educating them by having ads out there, letting them know that they can campaign, that they can invest. Those are
Absolutely.
the things that are going to help you. And I'm really happy to also hear that you when you talk about all those embassies working in one with one voice and one
Mhm.
understanding. That truly is something that's been
Mhm.
lacking. Because anywhere you go in the world and there's an embassy there, you could attach an embassy and get the same information elsewhere. So I really like
Mhm.
to hear that. So like I said, you guys are in the right path, in the right way. Just that really hope that our people, our Grenadian people, can see that and work with you guys. It's not going to happen overnight. It will take some
Nope.
time, but we're really going
Absolutely.
to show that, and we have to and that's one of the things you have to say to them. And I think that's what's been happening in the past years. We said this is what we want to do, and then we leave it there. And it never get done, and we never speak about it again. We also have to let the people know we are working on it. This is the steps that we are taking, and
Mhm.
it's coming.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So indeed.
and Ambassador, first, the whole issue of investment doesn't necessarily mean for some people they thinking has to be coming and probably building a hotel, and these sort of things. But in the aspect, the investment in sports, for example, is someone coming home on the summer and providing, as we said, mentorship programs to a national association, to a club, something to that extent. That is some form of investment because you
Of
invest in
course.
your
Yeah.
skills and experiences and things like that. And even though, now more than ever, we probably need more mentorship of young people young people. And
Right.
so I am assuming that as part of the diaspora initiative, that you will be encouraging Grenadians who will be able to come home or who have the opportunity to come home at times and provide that sort of skills and experiences. How can they relate to that? How can they get in touch? Give us some information.
Yeah. Well, you talk about sporting personalities and their contribution to mentorship. This is so very important for the overall development of our young ones. They are the future. And I want to refer to, you would remember this footballer, Jason Roberts, a Grenadian, who played first class football in England. Jason Roberts has been providing services through his Jason Roberts Foundation for over 15 years. He is associated with FIFA, the FIFA Players Committee, CONCACAF. He is on BBC Sports. He is associated with a number of programs. He has over 8,500 persons who have basically benefited from his program. He has collaborated with the Ministry of Tourism and the Grenada Hotel Association over the years in bringing groups from abroad to hold practices in Grenada. So I am extending a challenge to our professional athletes out there. Some of them are sports ambassadors, and I am saying that they have an opportunity to use the skills and talent that God has given to them to engage their peers, engage their friends. Remember, these folks are international icons. They have contacts that are way beyond what we are able to access. They have access to millions of people all over the world. When they speak to the world. We need to embrace this opportunity and this blessing that has been bestowed upon them for not just their own benefit, but for the benefit of Grenada. For example, during the winter months, I am sure there are lots of teams out in the United States, UK, Toronto, etc., who would like to continue training. But because of the weather, it is a little bit uncomfortable for them. We must now say to our athletes, go out there and encourage these teams to come to Grenada where there's no winter and you can train all year round. what that will do is create significant economic benefit for Grenada. This would also create an opportunity for the lowering of airfares, because the more flights we can contract coming into Grenada, these airlines will realize, okay, there's an increase in services, then maybe I can lower rates because I can provide many more flights. So this is just one of the challenges going out to our athletes out there, and they can form tremendous partnerships. They can, have sporting training for the youth, sporting matches, friendly competitions, etc. So let's leverage on these opportunities that presently exist. And these are low-hanging fruits for our athletes out there. So we want to be able, one, to engage them right away, to invite them to make contact with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and to say to them, use the skills, use the opportunity that you have right now. You have access to hundreds or maybe thousands of fans and supporters. Encourage them to come to Grenada. Encourage them, you want to train during the winter, come to Grenada. We can provide you with accommodation, air transportation, the works. So these are just some of the areas that we need to reach out and to embrace our athletes in particular out there and encourage them to give support to Grenada. But they too need support from Grenada, and we are certainly prepared to do so. It's all about embracing opportunities at this time.
Okay. Good afternoon to you, Theo Duncan, and also to Hazel and Regis Buckles. Thank you very much for being part of our program. And Ambassador, it's important because you mentioned about leveraging, the diaspora's networks and connections, which can, probably provide the opportunities for Grenadians, sportsmen and sportswomen to compete internationally, whereby, whether it's accessing scholarships or to participate in training programs abroad. But importantly, though, you must agree that the government also needs to establish clear strategies and mechanisms to effectively engage the diaspora and ensure that their contributions are maximized. I know, for example, there are Grenadians who have shown keen interest in participating in, the sporting fraternity in Grenada. And there's just recently, as a few weeks ago, one who has been actively involved in the sport of basketball, for example. And I'm getting more directly involved in that because I know a lot about it, and how he has been basically sidelined and excluded. So you have those who have shown the interest, but again, there is this level of frustration and exclusion, etc., etc. How can your department, which is now Diaspora Affairs, and the government put strategies in place to ensure that the diaspora and the experience of the diaspora, the involvement of the diaspora, is fully maximized?
Well, your point is well taken, and jump high, jump low, there will be always personality issues and so forth. This is why I said earlier that there must be an easy way for our diaspora Grenadians to make contact with an established office, which is the Office of Diaspora Affairs within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Because if they feel that they have been disenfranchised, they must know that there is an opportunity to report a matter, and there is an opportunity for somebody to listen to whatever concerns that they have. And this is what this office now is all about. Providing some form of engagement and not wondering, well, where to go and who I should talk to, etc. The Office of Diaspora Affairs within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 440-2640, shall be the office where all concerns can be lodged. All recommendations can be lodged. All ideas can be lodged. We are, and I've just indicated recently, it's not yet set up, but we are going to be setting up an opportunity for having a database of all Grenadians throughout the world. We want to be able to establish contact with Grenadians, no matter where they are, so that we can send out information about what is happening in Grenada, updates, etc., just by the click of one button. They can get emails informing them as to new policies, information generally as to what is happening in Grenada. Technology has brought us to the point whereby it is now just a click away. And that click away is getting even shorter with the introduction of AI. Artificial intelligence is just changing the landscape of technology. And we just have to embrace it and make the best out of it and maximize on it. So I want to say to our Grenadians in the diaspora, gone are the days when you feel that you don't have a voice or you don't have an opportunity to reach out to someone or to an office to lodge a complaint or to make a statement or to recommend something. I hope that this will be something of the past very soon. Yeah, and I'm saying give the office a matter of 30 days to settle down, then we can get going.
Because it's also important, Ambassador Forrester, because the whole issue of sports, for example, which has given Grenada, you know, a face on the global stage, you know, and specifically in track and field. Let's look at it with the Kirani James phenomena, also Anderson Peters, etc., etc. Yeah. And then prior to that, we had, you know, Aline Francisque, you know, world Indo champion. We had Hazel Rages. And I'm using an example. Let's say Hazel, for example, has a little daughter who is doing pretty well at her age. And she moves into, let's say, some level of, you know, international competition. And Hazel has an opportunity to make a decision to make between having her little one compete for Grenada and the US. I'm certain that it will be a challenge for Hazel, especially in that she will have to ensure that she gets the best for her daughter, right? And I'm just using Hazel as an example. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's a real story in her daughter. And there are many others in that, you know, second and third generation Grenadians. Also, based on what they have experienced in the past, how can you ensure that people like Hazel and probably Rudian and others who are listening and who have second and third generation children and who may have an interest in representing Grenada will want their kids to represent Grenada?
Well, first and foremost, every Grenadian, no matter where you are, should feel very proud, one, to be a Grenadian, and two, to be able to represent your country. And your country ought to be able and ought to have the responsibility to give you all the support that is necessary in your pursuit of representation in no matter whatever field it is. So I am just reiterating that this new office is no longer a desk as it used to be. This new office will be or has been charged with that responsibility. If someone feels disenfranchised, they can lodge whatever report to that office. If they need assistance in whatever field, they can also do the same. And as I indicated earlier on, you have this organization with two young ladies, GDAP. They are collecting data on Grenadians, professional Grenadians in the medical field and in other areas. We too, locally, we will be setting up a website, a database where we can start collecting data. Our embassies abroad, of course, some of them already have some data, but we need to know how we can establish communication and contact with our Grenadian people. Some of them don't necessarily have to communicate with the office, but at least they can receive maybe an email or some flyer indicating to them what is happening in the mainland, on your mainland. And that is the kind of rapport that we'd like to establish. So Grenadians feel still connected to home, although they are thousands of miles away. And that is the kind of relationship this new diaspora office is aiming toward in providing such services to our Grenadian people out there. And it matters not, and I want to make it clear, this is not about the NDC and NNP. This is about Grenada. We have to remove the politics out of this situation. This is about embracing all Grenadians, no matter your persuasion, politically or otherwise. This is about providing services to all Grenadians.
Well, I'm pretty much glad to hear that, because for someone who has been or who was involved in the Diaspora Initiative before, I know in that, you know, this must involve establishing, and you did mention to that extent, dedicated channels of communication and more or less creating incentives for the diaspora involvement. And as we zero in on sports, establishing you know, partnerships with diaspora organizations and individuals. We must have, and you must agree, you know, regular, you know, forums and events, you know, that can serve as, you know, probably platforms for dialogue, you know, idea sharing, collaboration between government, the diaspora, and, you know, local sports stakeholders, you know, because, you know, people have become a bit adherent now to these database. Every time you hear about a database, but there's no real action, you know. And you know, it's nice to have a database because you'll want to know where you know the people with the skills and the experiences, the expertise are, and things like that. So, but if there is no action on that, you know, then, you know, people will become a bit, you know, apparent to that. I know, for example, in the previous Diaspora Initiative, I was pushing for sports to be a part of the platform. Somehow it was just considered that health and education and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But there was no way for sports, you know, and
well, Michael, sports is closely linked to health and education.
And probably culture.
Because if you don't have health, you can't practice sports. And with sports, it's important that you have the education attached to it, because imagine you going out there in the big wide world as an athlete and you can't communicate. That is a problem not just for yourself, but representative of your country. So sports, health, and education, they're all very, very closely linked. And we need to take sports very seriously. Take, for example, when Karani James had his great successes, I mean, Grenadians were elated all over the world. What really did we do with this great successes of Karani James? I'm asking you because I can't point to anything that was initiated so that Grenada can take advantage of that worldwide exposure that we had. You're in the sports business.
Well, no,
Help me out there.
No, and I'm saying that we still haven't. I would still say that we still haven't taken advantage of that. You know what we did? We had carnival. We had well, I say carnival-like activities for a few days.
Right. So at the time, what we should have done was to provide him with a sports consultant to look at all the economic opportunities that he can get personally out of it. And two, Grenada can also piggyback on by way of groups, teams, and others coming to Grenada and exposing Grenada to the world. Maybe it can still be done. But these are the kind of promotions and opportunities that we would want our sporting enthusiasts, our athletes and so forth, who are going out there making Grenada proud. We need to take advantage of the massive exposure that they give to Grenada, where millions of people are looking on, and when they succeed, then Grenada succeeds. But what do we do with that information and with that exposure? We need the competent persons like sports consultants to really guide not just the athlete, but to also guide us here in Grenada as to how we can maximize the opportunities for all parties, for Grenada and for the athlete himself. So these are things that we have to start looking at so that we can all rise. When the tide rises, we all rise with it.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Kirani James factor, because there's another one with Red Felix, for example, is a young cyclist from Grenada who competed at the Commonwealth Games. And he was so unique in the sense that he had the Grenada flag as part of his the wheel, the spokes, and somehow it was unique in that the camera, he was the only one with such, and the cameras were always featuring him because, seeing a Grenada flag spinning on the spokes there like that. So, and he was doing pretty well, albeit he fell at, a couple of times, got injured and, and things like that. But I'm saying that these are the sort of things, as you referred to in terms of sports, that we need to look at times and see how we can maximize on them. We have not maximized, we have not fully maximized on the Kirani James. We have not maximized on Anderson Peters and others, and we still not maximizing. So Terry, the ball is in your court now to ensure that the Diaspora Affairs, along with the Ministry of Sports and other stakeholders, can maximize on these sort of opportunities.
Well, let me take another poke to say to you, because I believe in your own rights. You are a sports, not just enthusiast, but sports consultant. And to challenge the Grenadian diaspora, who are endowed with the knowledge of sports consulting knowledge, as sports consultants, to engage the Office of Diaspora Affairs and to let it be known that you are trained in this area, and how can we embrace and maximize the opportunities which our athletes are bringing, not just to themselves, but to Grenada, how we can maximize on this. I give you another example. The Grenada team that goes to London every year to showcase Grenada's flowers. They have been winning gold for Grenada for the past 16 years. And the question is, how are we maximizing on this? When folks out in England visit Grenada, they're asking, where is the National Flower Garden? Because they have seen so many beautiful displays put on by Grenada in London with the flowers. Your one goal, I want to know where, I want to come to Grenada, I want to see the National Flower Garden, but it doesn't exist. These are things that we have to change. These are things that we have to step up to the game. I know Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell has indicated recently that he will dedicate a number of acres of land to the organization, to the committee, so that they can establish this National Flower Garden. Now, something as simple as that, somehow, with all the efforts over the years, did not get done. And you have to ask yourself the question, why? As simple as that. 16 years in a row, Grenada is winning gold at the Chelsea Flower Show in London. We seem to lack the ability to maximize on opportunities. And the challenge, I'm sending it out there. One, we need sports consultants. We need individuals who are in the flower decorating business, who are consultants, who can provide the knowledge and the skills so that Grenada can embrace whatever opportunities there are for the good works done by Grenadians outside.
Good afternoon to you, Thomas Brown, Patricia Ventu. Good afternoon. And Comrade Radio is saying congratulations, Terry, on his appointment. In my humble opinion, I think his appointment is one of the best made by the Foreign Ministry of this new administration. I expect great things from Terry. Kudos to you, Ambassador Forrester. And so, therefore, it's probably, good to say now that the incorporation of the diaspora in Grenada's, and that's a word, I've been bantered around for quite a while, and Terry, you know it fairly well. Transformational agenda.
Yes, indeed.
With a specific focus on sports can, have far-reaching benefits for the country. By harnessing the expertise, the resources, the connections of the diaspora, I believe that Grenada can, strengthen its sports sector, enhance, national pride, and foster a sense of belonging among diaspora communities. Therefore, Terry, how do you think the diaspora could be involved or get more directly involved in Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence come next February? The involvement of the diaspora, and if you can make a little input for sports in particular as well, but in general, the diaspora involvement in Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence.
As we move towards our 50th anniversary of independence, we'll be celebrating gold. And the celebrations, Prime Minister announced that it will be for 1 year. The formal launching and unveiling of the 50th anniversary will take place in September. So there'll be a number of activities taking place for 1 year, even beyond next year, February, when we celebrate our 50th anniversary. And the first thing that comes to mind, I said to myself, boy, I remember when we celebrated our 25th anniversary of independence, our Silver Jubilee. I was chairman of that committee then. You mean another 25 years have come on me already? Nonetheless, this is an opportunity for Grenadians in the diaspora to play their part. One, to make arrangements to return home and to celebrate. Two, there will be celebrations out in the diaspora in several cities. We need to be able to coordinate all of these activities, and information must be sent to our embassies or can be sent directly to the Diaspora Office in Grenada through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But it might be easier to collaborate and communicate for the time being with the embassy, be it in Toronto or be it in Washington or New York, London, etc. But we want our Grenadian people to feel part and parcel of this entire celebration where we celebrate 50 years. This is going to be a real turning point for Grenada, 50. And we want to ensure that communication is alive and well, and that Grenadians can make their contribution as to what they would like to see, how they think the celebration should unfold, etc. Because this is a people's celebration, and they must be given the opportunity to share their ideas, give their vision, show their appreciation. And the only way you can do that is through communication. So very soon the committee is going to be, and I'm going to encourage them to come onto your program, Michael, so that they can express to the Grenadian masses, to the Grenadian folks out in the diaspora, the plans of the committee. But yes, Grenadians must be involved in all the planning arrangements, and we're inviting all Grenadians to start making plans to return home in February the 7th, 2024, where Grenada will celebrate gold, 50 years, and chart a new era for Grenada.
All right, that's a nice way. And Patricia Vento is saying that all the flowers at the airport and roundabout died. Honorable Andy is finally replanting them. Hopefully that in terms of replanting, they'll be planted for quite a while. They will stay alive, you know, because as we get ready for, you know, the 50th, we have to beautify the place and keep it clean. And
absolutely,
the beautification must not just be for February 7th. It must be for a period. Yeah.
Our airport is like the living room of the country, you know. And when you invite somebody to your living room, it must be clean, it must look inviting, it must be pleasant. So our airport represents our individual living rooms. Clean it up, make sure it looks inviting, so that when we encourage guests to come in, they feel pleased. When I was at the airport, one thing we did was, for the arrival of every international flight, a couple pounds of nutmeg was placed into the air conditioning system, grounded, of course, and placed into the air conditioning system, so that when you arrive, you get this aroma of spice, which really makes you feel, well, wow, I think, yes, I've arrived to the Isle of Spice. And that would last for hours. That, in my opinion, we need to continue, because it really differentiates Grenada from other Caribbean islands.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I would encourage you
like
to continue doing that, even from now. Don't wait till independence.
Right, because even you give them that, people start within the next week or two for the carnival and all these sort of that.
Start sinking.
Right, and I know, like, if you go to the Bahamas, for example, when you arrive at the Lyndon Pindon International Airport, there's basically a wall of fame you're walking through, with all the past, take photos of all the past heroes, the leaders, sporting greats, etc., etc. And there's a little bio on them, and people basically stop, read, take photos, you know, all these sort of things, you know, and get a little history. And that's on arrival, you know, which is very good. I love the ideas of collaboration and getting the diaspora involved. We will be able to share the different activities in one place, a resource hub. As we wrap up, Rudian, some final thoughts to Ambassador Forrester?
Ambassadors, no, so far, like I said, I've listened attentively, and I really like what I'm hearing. Like I said, everyone wouldn't see your vision. Everyone wouldn't understand what the vision is. However, you know, those who do most likely would get involved in exactly what you're doing, because your ideas is also their ideas, their thoughts and views that they want for the country, man. And for me as a Grenadian, I just I pray constantly. I even have my church pray for my country, because I want to see us be glorified and be beautified. That we are the spice of the island, and we don't want to lose that. We want to also be that, and we've seen other islands also stepping up with their own spices, but we have to remind them we are the spice of the Caribbean. And how do we do that? By doing the little things that you just spoke about, and expanding on it. It's just not a one-time off. It has to be constant. It has to be continue going on and seeing the beauty of Grenada as well. So it's not just only you walk through the airport and then you see the flowers, you smell the aroma of the spice, and that's it. It has to continue on across the country by keeping the country clean, as it should be, so people feel comfortable, they feel good, that foreigners can come in when they come on a cruise ship and they see Grenada's beach and they want to come back again, which most of them do come back just from looking at the Grenada's beach. There are also other parts of Grenada that they could also visit as well and say, yes, you know, this is truly an island I can get my peers and my co-workers and tell them, come to Grenada.
Mhm.
And definitely looking to get the people who have done greatness for Grenada. I believe I have a great idea of something that can be part of the independent, that could make a soon difference, by identifying specific things, but never get the opportunity to speak about it because I never know where to go and who was the committee, for the independent. And like you said, the launch is in about 2 months. Give that idea that I have, that I believe is such a great idea and will certainly make a big difference. I will never get the opportunity to, because I never know who the committee was, where to find it. And that also was a challenge on my part. I had connection. I probably could have called some people, but I never get the opportunity to. But like I said, it's really good. Hopefully, we get a chance to speak to the committee on this program, and what the future is like, for next year, and what it looks like, and just give the people some hope and some joy. But continue on to the greatness that you guys are doing, the good work that you guys are doing. I am, from listening to you, I'm very pleased that somebody like your caliber is in that position, and change definitely is going to come. The people will see the difference, but just hope and pray that those who is on the sideline could step in, and be a part of it, and then change could happen for Grenada. So continue doing the hard work. I really hope that we get the opportunity to speak again. I will certainly get your number from Michael, and that we probably can have a one-on-one conversation. I'm really looking forward to that because there is some things I would like to talk to you about.
Absolutely.
And moving forward, and that we could work together for a better Grenada and a better diaspora as well.
All right.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on the
Thank
position.
you.
So, Ambassador Forrester, you have the last word.
Well, let me thank you and your co-host for having me on your program today. I hope this would not be the last one. And I would encourage either the chairperson or the PR person for the 50th anniversary of independence to be on your program, just to share information with the diaspora and to encourage ideas, etc. And I want to take this opportunity to say that on Sunday, tomorrow, I'll be having on another program, that's the Heartbeat program, the chairman of the CBI, that's the Citizenship by Investment. And I'll be asking him to relate to the Grenadian masses in the diaspora how they can effectively be part of the investment portfolio, the investment journey, the investment opportunities in Grenada. So that is Mr. Richard Duncan. He is the chairman of the CBI, that's the Citizenship by Investment Office. So he will be on that program. Of course, also the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Joseph Handel, he'll be on. And also Kennedy Roberts, Ambassador Kennedy Roberts, he is the Health and Environment Ambassador. And he too will be talking about how the diaspora can be engaged with respect to health and the environment. So there are just about every aspect of life that our diaspora can speak to or be engaged with. So I want to say thank you very much again, and to just leave this final note to say we just need a little change of mindset. We become that what we think about most of the time. Hope that your thoughts are uplifting, because from moment to moment, you are becoming that what you think about. Let us have a new mindset, a change of mindset for the transformation of Grenada as we move forward.
Yeah, you did say final, but we know that the minister was expected to join us at some stage, Terry, and
Yes.
I think you said because of the inclement weather, lots of those guys are in the community, in the constituency working now, right?
Yes. So let me extend his apologies for not being able to join you. But we have had some very heavy rains from last night into this morning, and we have experienced some slides and so forth. So the minister is out in his constituency looking after his constituents and ensuring that, the constituency is well secured. But I'm sure he will take this opportunity to be with you another time. And I promise you that I will certainly remind him
Okay, then.
once it's convenient for you.
Well, I guess he is not the only one. I assume most of those who probably were affected by the heavy rain, because I saw some of the videos and photos. I know the tongue of, River Road in particular,
Yeah.
had its share as well. There I saw West Hall, other areas as well. But Terry, I will want to thank you personally for accepting the invitation to be on the program. And I will say that the transformational agenda, right, should strive to create what we'll call a sustainable and inclusive sports ecosystem. And you name so many things there, but I will probably encapsulate it in saying, this should sort of involve providing, the opportunities for our young sportsmen and sportswomen, right, and promoting an important aspect that we probably left out: grassroots programs, sporting programs, and supporting athlete development at various levels by leveraging, importantly, the diaspora's expertise and networks. Grenada can access valuable resources to achieve these goals. Thank you very much, Ambassador Forrester. Thank you, Rudian, as per usual, being on our program. And hopefully, Terry, it's not the last time we'll hear from you.
Nope.
Normally, when we bring, whether it's a prime minister or the minister, we always have a second and third round, and certainly you will have a second round sometime soon.
Absolutely, so indeed. And
Yeah.
I'll call you privately to extend that challenge to you, because, of course, this has been your life over the years, sports and so forth. And I remember you being president of the Media Association in Grenada and president of MWAG. I believe you have a big contribution to make to Grenada and to Grenadians in the field of sport. We would want to certainly embrace you and to embrace your thoughts and ideas in that arena, so that, Grenada can benefit out of it.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you very much, Rudian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Been a pleasure indeed. Thank you very much.
Okay. Then. All right. So there you heard it from Ambassador Terry Forrester, and as well as our co-host Rudian Silva. And Ambassador Forrester is in Grenada. And from time to time, certainly he will be, you will see him show up in the diaspora. It's a summer period, so a lot of activities in the diaspora. So you never know, he might be at a Grenada Day function, whatever it is like that. So spreading the gospel about the diaspora initiative, and as they elevated the whole diaspora desk to now, and Diaspora Affairs with an ambassador. I'm certain that Terry's presence will be ever more evident now. But overall, I will say that the government's focus on incorporating the diaspora in the transformational agenda, particularly in the context of sports, has the potential to yield positive outcomes. It is an opportunity, no doubt, for the government to harness the energy, the skills, and the passion of the diaspora community to contribute to Grenada sports development and overall national growth, because they are not just folks who are sportsmen and sportswomen who are directly involved, but they are businessmen and women who also have an interest, and they want to invest in sports. They want to, for example, support a club, an organized sporting club in Grenada. They may want to sponsor it, these sort of things. But the information is important. And as Terry says, opening that communication channel is very, very important. And we will, hopefully, I'm just saying hopefully, it's probably a new beginning for the whole diaspora initiative. And we hope to see and hope to speak to some of the other stakeholders in the very near future. But we want to wish Ambassador Forrester all the best. And certainly we'll have a host of people around him and people who will want to be part of the process that will be reaching out to him. I personally will give him some contacts that he will be able to get in touch with folks and tap into their interests, because they have those who have shown interest initially and then just, slack off after a while, because, as I said, it was just about a database and then there was nothing after that. But I'm certain that Terry will want to, keep that fire churning and, tap into the resources that are available in the diaspora. Thank you very much, folks, for being part of our program. As per usual, it's always an invitation to join us every Saturday from 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All I do now is to wish you a pleasant weekend.